Matthew Lloyd!
Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show, and we looked at some sad moments in finals time only weeks ago. Well, today it's all about the most inspirational moments we've all witnessed watching finals football. I want to start with Leo Barry for mine. I know we've all seen the mark a million times, but what I didn't realise in this 05 grand final was the fact that Leo Barry had the ball originally. So he had it at the start. So he kicks it in long. Dean Cox marks it. So I never realised Barry then goes again, and the courage of him going with the flight of the ball. Steve Quartermain's commentary was brilliant. Yeah. Leo Barry, you star, and just it'd been a long drought for Sydney, and just the emotions at the end, Bill. Absolutely loved that moment.
That's the best mark he'll ever take in his life.
He will. And just on that, Damo, so that was Sydney beating West Coast by a point, but the year after, West Coast got their revenge.
Yeah, the two epic grand finals those two clubs played. Also in the last quarter, the year later. This moment from Daniel Chick, to me, is one of the more extraordinary grand final efforts ever. The tackle, the smother, the gather, the handball, the shepherd, all of it together. Adam Hunter kicks the goal, but it was every bit Daniel Chick's, the way he went about winning this game for the Eagles at this stage.
Good one, Damo.
Good one, Damo.
Very good, Damo. We had a discussion on radio yesterday about who is the best team in the last few decades. There's so many. Geelong, Hawthorn. You've got, obviously, the Brisbane Lions. And I think Brisbane Lions are the best because they had so many good leaders, so courage. Nigel Lappin went into the after the preliminary final, had rib issues. Have a look at him here. Nobody thought he was going to play. Have a look at that. That is a knee right into the ribs. You would miss normal games, but tested himself for a grand final, came out and played that grand final. Jason Ackermanis actually said in the media that he had a rib problem, which Lee Matthews didn't really like. But super courage, got out there, played the game and just got the job done. As you see, they went after him early, but enormous courage by Nigel Lappin.
Certainly was. It had been a long time since Geelong had won a premiership, 63. It had been 44 years, Kane. And the big pill, Brad Otten. Have a look at the chase here from the big pill. Look at it. What's his name? Pettigrew. Look at Otto. Keep going, Otto, the big ruckman. And he gets him. Boom! And that's when the Cats were going to win the grand final. What a chase from the big pill.
In the first quarter?
Yeah. Things like that from a big fella.
Just sets up the whole day for the...
Sets it all up, and that was it. Well done, Phil.
Tough day. So I'm going to go back to happier times. Gavin Wanganeen hadn't touched the ball at half-time of the 04 prelim against St Kilda. Choco gave him the biggest spray I've ever seen, and this is what he did in the last quarter. That one from 55 with the set shot. Look at the score. Started the last quarter, got us going, and then this. Just brilliance from one of the best players we've ever seen play the game. And it's not your game, but it can be your moment. It's been said before. Nothing truer than that from Gavin Wanganeen on that night.
So was that in direct response to the spray from Choco?
Well, I think it had something to do with it. He was almost untouchable, Gav. Like, no coach would ever give him a spray. He was mild-mannered, he was very humble, and he often escaped any criticism from the coach. But this night, Choco just said, Gav, I need something. I need you to lift. And he went forward, and he did lift.
I can't help but think back to the 99 preliminary final, Lordo, at the MCG, and this particular moment here. This will go down as one of the great tackles of all time. Fraser Brown on Dean Wallace. Here it comes, and there he goes. Now, Lordo, that's the way we saw it on the television from that angle. Where were you watching it?
I was watching it from the top of the goal square, TJ. I was playing on Steve Silvani, and we wanted it to the top of the square. Dean Wallace, though, was one of our longest kicks, so he thought if I can get it around Fraser Brown, I can draw the game because we were 1 point down or win us the game. So it's amazing. You look at Port and Brisbane who have blown chances over the last few days. That's one still haunts me that day. We'd beaten Carlton by 10 and 12 goals in the home and away rounds and somehow lost that game of footy.
If Dean had
and how many goals did you kick to that point of the game, Lordo?
I'd had a handful on side. So I'd had five.
You think if Dean kicked it in, you would have been there ready to take it?
Number 6.
I had him on the ropes, Brandon.
I think that was also the same day as the election where Jeff Kennett got beaten, wasn't it? Yeah.
But TJ, over 2 segments, so too many big moments to do in one. So I've demanded a second deep dive segment, and we'll go to the break now. But after the break, got some even bigger ones than that, which includes Marlon Pickett and the story of last year. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. I'll never forget this time last year, the drama, Brownie, that surrounded the possible selection of Marlon Pickett, and we'll never see it again.
Has there ever been a better feel-good story than Marlon Pickett last year? Had never played an AFL game, had been in jail. Been in jail, I repeat that, unbelievable to be running around on the MCG, your first ever AFL game, and do things like that, 28 disposals. Jack Graham, who we spoke to before, did his shoulder in the prelim, played the whole game out, so they needed someone to come in. This guy had been best on, won the medal in the VFL Grand Final the week before, so he was in good form. He came in and he was very, very good. And I guess this week he's going to play his second Grand Final in just a handful of games, but he stood up. He stood up on the biggest stage in his first game, and what a fairy tale it was, and it was just one of those great things that happened. It was a magical moment for him and the Richmond Footy Club.
And it was a little bit controversial because Damien Hardwick had left out, I think, Ross. He left out Camden McIntosh. Yep. He played, got best on ground and got picked for the grand final. I want to show a Brendan Goddard moment that I think if St Kilda had won this drawn grand final, would remember this mark forever. But we don't talk about it as much, but I'll never forget the roar at the MCG. I was watching this game. He went back, kicked the goal, Bill, and as I said, it was a huge moment.
Great grab.
Just wasn't to be for those St Kilda players like Revolt and Goddard, who are wonderful players for a period of time. But Damo, again, your moment you're about to show, not as famous. That one's certainly not as famous as your one, the famous toe poke.
Yeah, 2009, Geelong St Kilda, crucial stage of an epic battle, probably the most brutal game of football ever played in some people's eyes. But Matty Scarlett, to even think to do that, to then be prepared to do that, and then to have the calmness to execute that toe poke to Ablett, who kicked it long, to Chapman, who kicked the match-winning goal. To me, it's right up there, again, with one of the great moments that's been played out on that ground and on grand final day.
The way that Lordo Hawthorn were wound up for the 2014 grand final, I reckon their first 5 minutes of this game against Sydney was as tough and as physical I've ever seen. It almost spooked Sydney out of it. I want to have a look at this tackle from Jared Ruffhead on Dan Hanbury. Look at these early stages of this game in the first quarter, and bang! Like that was a massive statement, and that hurt him, one of the star players for Sydney, and they were just so physical on this day, Hawthorn, and it was all set up from that attack on the body and the ball in the first quarter.
TJ, yeah, that was a famous day for Hawthorn. Yeah, they were too good, but you love this moment, don't you, from Herschel?
I do, because you know how you showed the Brad Ottens run and chase in 07, right? And you were saying about how acts like that can set you up for the whole day. Then I reckon we saw that in 2010, Collingwood and St Kilda. This was the replay. Look, this is very early in the piece. But there we go. Look at that smother there. Now, surely that inspirational act from Heath Shaw just gave the Magpies the encouragement they needed to dominate for the rest of the day psychologically.
Spot on.
Psychologically, and almost, I hate to use the word demoralise, but it must have. It must have just broken the spirit of St Kilda.
He snuck up on him like a librarian.
Have you ever been to a library?
Yeah, that's it. That was an amazing moment. I just want to show, though, this one, Bill. We wanted to show the Sheed goal, but everyone talks about Dom Sheed, but the play from Jeremy McGovern...
The build-up.
First, the build-up to it. Everything had to go right, Bill, and it did.
It did, coast to coast. So he leaves his man, takes a hanger there, plays on quickly. Then we see, I think it's Vardy, isn't it, who gets involved here. They've sold memorabilia, these four players. They have, with the 4 bits of play. They've sold a lot of memorabilia. And then Flying Ryan takes an absolute hanger. So 2 of the best marks you'll see in a grand final. And then, of course, was this a free kick or not? But was it holding out? And Dom Sheed marks that. And the coolness to go back and say, nah, I'm going to kick this. I am going... Look at the score. They're 2 points down. There's 2 minutes to go. The coolness to go back and nail it. It's just unbelievable. Well done to you, Dom.
They just all kept their heads, TJ. Every single one of them, from McGovern to Vardy to Ryan to Sheed. What a player. I know it's heartbreak for Collingwood, but amazing. They're tough to win premierships, and West Coast stole that one at the end.